Hi!
Hello, welcome back to Make or Bake. Today we are doing a make and we're going to be making Notice People.
Which is a little bit of a play on words, isn't it? It's going to have some people and it's also going to hold some notices. But there might also be people that notice things.
More about that later.
Okay, so we've shown you what you need. So let's crack on, shall we? I've got my piece of cardboard. If you've got a box or something, you need to cut it. And I'm about to do so that it's in a rectangle shape. So I will cut that in half now.
So this is part of a box we got when we got some new weighing scales. If you've got a cereal box or a shoe box or any bit of cardboard will do. And we're going to make 2 Notice People on a little strip of card. If you want to, you can make 3 or 4 or more, and if so, you'll just need a longer strip of card.
And some more pegs.
And a lot more pegs.
Okay, now if you wanted to, you could do your background in a colour, you could paint it or you could colour it in with felt tips. We're trying to be quick here, so we will cover it in a piece of paper. Do you want to put some Pritt stick on there while I cut out the piece of paper, and then we can stick it on? We've chosen a green background for our Notice People. If you were a Burnley fan, you might choose, I don't know,
Claret.
Light blue, and then do your people in claret. You might paint your people in, or colour them in pens, but you might do it in stripes or whatever colour you want, really. Thank you very much. Okay, so we've made our background green. Okay, and you can see that I have cheated just slightly with here's one I made earlier. We're going to draw this person shape onto our card. I'm going to draw another one here. And the reason that it is this shape is because the arms and the legs, hope you can see this, are going to have pegs on them. So they need to be really nice and long so that the pegs go on like this. And they have to open at the bottom, or at the top, sorry. So we have to stick them so that they make sure that they open and close to hold things on them. It's not as complicated as it seems, honestly. So we're going to just draw around the peg and then fill it in, those 4 lines of the pegs, and then fill it in with the body. Please may I borrow another peg as well so that I can do this.
And while Esther's drawing the body on there, I'm going to paint our pegs. I've got some nice gold paint here that I'm going to use. You could use any colour that you wanted to. Just make sure it's a different colour to your background so that you can see your Notice People. And what you need to do, as well as painting your pegs, is to paint the middle of your person on your background bit of card. So obviously this can get quite messy, so you might want to put an apron on. Make sure you've got something on your table. I've got some bits of cardboard here for when I need to do the edge bits.
So I'm just lining up my pegs with where the metal line goes and putting the longest bit for the arm and the legs. So, that one fell over. Good. And then I'm going to use that Pritt stick that we just used to draw the head, because I'm not very good at circles. But if you're much better at drawing a circle, then you could just freehand it yourself. Oh goodness, I have a very wide person, let's say. Wide.
It's okay, you can have any shape people you like.
They're doing a star shape quite widely is what I mean. Not
They're very stretched.
very stretched person. Okay, and then this one needs a head as well. Here we
Is
go.
it like Elastigirl on The Incredibles?
Oh, that's 2 weeks in a row, that is. Oh no, that was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? That's 3 weeks in a row we've managed to talk about The Incredibles. So if you can see there are now 2 people. This one is doing the splits a little bit wider than this one. And they've just got their head and their body is a cross shape. And I'm going to paint that in while Kat is painting some pegs.
So you need just as many pegs as you need arms and legs on your picture. So have a count up, see how many arms and legs you want, and that's how many pegs you need to paint.
And don't forget, you need to do all the sides of the pegs because otherwise they won't match the arms. Okay, so we'll see you in a second when I have painted my people and we have done all the pegs and everything is dry.
Hi, welcome back. We have painted our people and they're there, and we've also painted our pegs,
8 gold pegs.
which is good. Of course, if you haven't got any paints, you could do that bit with felt pen, or indeed you could just leave it the colour of the pegs if you wanted to.
You could also have this so that your picture stands up on its bottom pegs, but we're going to hang ours, so we're going to make a hole either side. Do it now before the pegs get in the way.
Otherwise it might be tricky to make the hole when the pegs are already stuck on. So we're just going to do 2 holes, one either side.
Yay.
And then once they're there, we can get a nice bit of string, cut it to the length that you want, depending what you're going to hang it on. And then we'll just poke it through and tie a nice knot. So there we go, that's how we're going to hang it up. And so now Esther is going to stick on our pegs on the limbs of our little notice people.
I'm going to use some PVA glue. I've put mine in a little pot here. You don't want too much because you don't want it to ooze out the side.
So once we put those on, we're going to put some pictures into our pegs. And of course you can put whatever you want into your pegs. You can put little reminders in there, you can put notes in, you can put photographs. But what we wanted to think about a little bit this week was how people notice things. So like Esther said at the beginning, we're using a bit of a play on those words. On Sunday, during our family service online, Father Alex will share a little bit of a talk on the end of Matthew chapter 11. That's a part in the Bible where Jesus is talking about the way that different people notice things. And Jesus says, you might think that these really clever people would have everything right and would know everything, but actually God reveals, God shows, tells things to people who we might not expect would be able to know those things. And he even says that God reveals, shows things to little children. So what we wanted to think about today was how we might think about people that have helped us to notice things, to see things differently, to understand things in a different way, and especially where those people have been people we might not expect. So we might expect our parent or a carer or a teacher at school to help us notice something, to learn something, to understand something differently. We might not expect perhaps somebody younger than us, or somebody that we don't know very well, or somebody that some people in society say aren't very clever, to reveal, to show us things. But the Bible says that those people are really important, unexpected people. So we've got some pictures to put in ours. We've got a little bit of a map. So you might want to think about where you noticed something new or understood something differently for the first time. We've got a little encouragement. So you might want to write down some words that somebody said to you that were an encouragement to you or helped you to see yourself differently or to see a situation differently. And I've got a photograph. And this photograph's from when I went on a trip, and I met a lot of people on that trip who lived in very different situation to what we do in the United Kingdom. They didn't always have the opportunity to go to school, and they had to work very hard to feed their families. They often went quite hungry. And those people were really, really wise. They were able to show me things and to help me notice things about my life and about the world that I hadn't noticed before. So how are our people looking?
They're good. I was just listening to what you were saying. If I was going to put a map up, it might be, you said about where you were, but it might be where somebody is now who lives away from us, who you haven't got to see very much. And if I was going to put some words, you said about they could be ones that you remember people said, but somebody might have sent you something. So this is a postcard. I've got a little box of things where not this one obviously, of things where people have sent me letters or cards, and they're really precious, especially if they're from people that are no longer here. So there might be things that are to do with memories or people that you're not close to at the moment that you might want to put up on the wall to remember them. Now, we're going to put our pictures in our frame, but it needs to dry first because the pegs have only just got the glue on them. But you can see what they will look like, and then we will show you what the final bit, the final image looks like with the pictures attached to it. And then the thing to remember, of course, is that this bit needs to be no higher than the metal line. Well, that one's sliding down, look. Pushing back up. Because otherwise, when you open your peg, it won't open.
Oh no!
My leg fell off. When you open the peg, that's why you shouldn't hold things up when they're still wet. When you push down the peg to open it like this, it needs to have enough room to do so, so it can't be any further than the metal line. I'm going to put it back down now so that it can dry, and then we'll show you what it looks like when it's finished.
So that's our Notice People craft for today, and we hope you enjoyed making it, and we're just going to finish by saying a short prayer. Let's pray. Loving God, we thank you that you show us things through all sorts of different people. We thank you that even when society says that people have got to perhaps be clever or rich to show us things, that actually you show us things through people who are younger, through people in all different situations. Help us to listen to people who are different from us, and help us to be ready to learn from a whole variety of people. Help us to remember those people that have shown us things about ourselves and about our world that are really helpful. Amen.
Amen.
And if you do want to think about that a little bit more, you might want to watch our family service, which will be shared at 10:30 a.m. on Sunday morning on our YouTube channel.
I think some of the brownies and guides on people are taking part in it as well.
And the rainbows.
And rainbows.
And a scout.
Rainbows or scouts, goodness. All of the organisations are involved on Sunday.
Fantastic. So we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Next week on Make or Bake, we've got a special guest host. So I'm really looking forward to that. So watch out for that, and we'll see you in a fortnight.
See ya.